Hey, what's up and how's it going, everyone? Well, I'm so glad that you have took your time to spend with me right here today on the MRB Wrestling Review Show. I am your co-host, Mike McRockwilson, and last night was NXT from the Full Sail University in Orlando, Florida. And what I really like about this show is that, unlike Raw and SmackDown, the announcers on this show are more direct and to the point and not really sugarcoating less aspects of the show. So with that being said, let's kick it off. And the very first match was a Divas tag team match. It was Bayley and Charlotte facing Alicia Fox and Aksana. And what's interesting about this match is that the Bayley and Charlotte are two up-and-coming NXT superstars, and Alicia Fox and Aksana are two divas that already have a spot on Raw and SmackDown, so they're kind of, they're jobbing for the other team. And what's also interesting is that the last time we seen Charlotte, she faced Bayley one-on-one, so, there's going to be some elements that are going to come into play in this match. And one of the interesting little things that I actually liked about this match was that when Charlotte was about to do something off the top rope, the opponent comes in and throws her over. And it's kind of, riveting back to her, Charlotte's father, Ric Flair, because that used to happen to him all the time in every single match that he was in. So for that to happen to Charlotte, it only makes me think this is still about Ric Flair, which is alright, But at least at some point in time in Charlotte's career, she needs to come out in her own. And with all that being said, what happened at the end was that Bayley and Charlotte got the victory, only to have, Bayley kind of tag herself in. There's a little bit of what happened there, a little bit miscommunication, but they kind of brush it off right away, and Bayley got the victory. And what was also interesting about this match is that Charlotte was only used throughout only a bit in this match, and I like that because it's a build-up to her character on NXT. And Bayley was pretty much doing all the work in that match, so I would like to see something happen in the future. Maybe Charlotte turns on Bayley and becomes a heel and become, a diva that, pulls off these dirty tactics like her father did in his career. And with that being said, I also noticed Charlotte dyed her hair a bit, so that was a nice touch, because we already have Summer Rae and Emma, who are are pretty much almost look the same, with her blonde hair. So I like that Charlotte changed her hair a bit, just for the sake of divas having a certain color and style of hair. So not every diva should be blonde. So with that being said, I like how they mix it up. Those little things that make it worth, okay, this girl is different because she don't look like the other divas that have blonde hair. So I like that she did dye her hair a bit. And with that being said, hopefully something good does come out of it. Charlotte and Bayley, a potential rivalry, because right now Bayley is coming out in her own. She's looking great, and Charlotte is trying to find her bearings, and she's only been on NXT for a few weeks now. So I like that she's trying to find her bearings, and when she does find her bearings, she'll turn heel and turn on Bayley, probably in the next match that happens on NXT. Also, in the Divas division on NXT, we see a segment backstage with Summer Rae and Sasha Banks, and Summer Rae tries to get in Sasha's head about Paige being the anti-diva, saying that she's better than the two of us. and she's the women's champ, etc., etc., and trying to get into the head of Sasha Banks. And what I really like is how the cameraman got really up close with Sasha Banks' face and just showing the emotion she's conveying to the audience. Even though it felt like a preview out of a soap opera, it still added to the show. That cheese factor sometimes actually works in some segments, such as that one. So all in all, it was a pretty decent segment when it comes to the Divas division, and I like that they used more than a few divas on this week's show. We've seen Charlotte and Bayley and Alicia Fox and Oksana, and we've seen not only Sasha Banks and Summer Rae, but later on we actually heard from the women's champ, Paige, who kind of praised Sasha, saying that that she is good, and also in the same time watching out for Summer Rae. And I think this rivalry with Summer Rae and Paige will probably continue going forth. And now putting Sasha Banks in that situation is probably the right thing to do out of any of the divas that are on the NXT roster, because Sasha Banks does need that break in the Divas division, and I think that wrestling Paige for the NXT Women's Champ will be perfect for Sasha Banks. Also on the show, we seen Corey Graves going one-on-one with one half of the Ascension, Rick Victor. And what I really like about this match is that this is a match that set up very well. I like that based on what happened last week with the beatdown on Corey Graves, courtesy of the Ascension, that we see Corey Graves come out with taped ribs, abs, right there in the center, and so that comes into play. And I like that the guy who's fresh is the one that's dominant on the guy that's not 100%, and the guy that's not 100% pulls off a roll up and gets the victory over Rick Victor. I like those things like that when it comes to certain matches. The setup like that was just incredible. And the only little thing I didn't like about that match was that Conor O'Brien, I'm not used to seeing him like outside the ring waiting to attack, because he's a guy that should be in the ring, and that just goes all out on his opponent. Same thing with The Undertaker. It's hard to see him in the corner in a tag team match or outside the ring, only to have his other partner be in that match. And it just doesn't look right, It's just one of those things with Conor O'Brien. But with that being said, I like that, Rick Victor finally, we see him in a one-on-one match, and they show how much he can do, and it was actually not half bad. It wasn't great, but it was still good. The way he portrayed and conveyed how he carried that match was great. I think he needs to work on his, wrestling only a little bit. Even though he is good, he is a good storyteller in the ring as well. And all in all, I think that this thing with Corey Graves and Andrew Neville facing the Ascension in the near future for the Tag Team Championships is the right way to go, because let's face it, there's no other team right now on NXT that is at that level of, facing the Tag Team Champions right now. And the Ascension is that perfect team to go after them. Also last night, Mason Ryan went one-on-one with Alexander Rusev. And what I really like about this match was that, we see this new guy, Alexander Rusev, come in with this board and they smash the hell out of it. And the board has Mason's name on it. Kind of like last week when he came in to face Dolph Ziggler, he had Ziggler's name on it. I like those little things that make a superstar different and unique. And what I really like about this guy is that this guy is very, like I said before, this guy is very agile in the ring. Pulling up that spinning heel kick for a 300-pounder is incredible. And to lock in that camel clutch on Mason Ryan, a big guy like him, It's no words can explain that. That's incredible, and I like that Alexander got the win over Mason Ryan, because if he lost, it'll just be all for nothing. So I like that he did get the victory over Mason Ryan with the help of, Scott Dawson and Sylvester Lefort. And I like this formation with Sylvester Lefort because, he's a big guy that, needs the guy to talk for him. And Sylvester Lefort is that guy as well. And he's also managing Scott Dawson. And I like to see how these two guys can work well with each other in a tag team match sometime in the near future. But right now, I like that Alexander is competing in one-on-one matches, and I like how he's, performing in the ring. Like I said before, he's awesome for a big guy, for a 300-pounder, and I think right now he is a very cool and interesting superstar on NXT, and push this guy. And they're going to keep going forward with him, and I like that. Also, before I get to the main event, we see this little thing. It's not much, but Xavier Woods gets attacked by Leo Kruger backstage, and it was like, it just felt like a filler. I'm not really looking forward to this thing because it was just something to make next week's show. So, at least they're leaving out something, to go on for next week. And the main event last night was Sami Zayn versus Jack Swagger. And the interesting thing about this match is that Sami Zayn right now, based on what happened last week, I know I didn't do my NXT review for last week, but, the way they ended it with Sami Zayn was pretty good, because right now he's going to be competing for the NXT champ against Bo Dallas. And here's the interesting thing. Sami Zayn last night was incredible. I didn't think, coming off that match with Antonio Cesaro, that 2 out of 3 falls, that he would, won't, capitalize on that. And he did. And the cool thing about Sami Zayn is that he can go into this match and perform very well, and the losses really don't mean a thing as long as he goes over the audience with an incredible match, and he can benefit from that and not the losses. So with that being said, him going into this match with Bo Dallas for the NXT Championship, he looks great. And throughout that match with Jack Swagger, I really like the little things. Before they went to commercial break, we see Jack Swagger outside the ring, and Sami Zayn is about to dive, but when Jack Swagger got out of the way, Sami Zayn done this weird backflip and went right backwards, right in the ring. It was just incredible. And shortly after Bo Dallas coming out, costing Sami Zayn the match, signifies that this is going to be a match that, of course, Sami Zayn is going to go over, because he's more, right now it feels like he's more popular than Bo Dallas. So for that reason, I think Sami Zayn will be the next NXT champ, and Bo has got to go according to the audience, and I kind of agree with that. And I like that he's coming out with his heel turn, and both guys look good going into this future match for the NXT Championship. And that was my review of NXT from the Full Sail University in Orlando, Florida. For the MRB Wrestling Review Show, I'm Mike McRock Wilson. Get plenty of rest, and always do your best.